Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, where the desire for perfect beauty runs the risk of death or injury. We report from the Mexican state of Sinaloa, where many women who can't afford plastic surgery head to clandestine clinics offering low-cost cosmetic procedures. Also, the Kinshasa shelter in the Democratic Republic of Congo that offers a new start to dozens of young homeless girls while encouraging them to learn new skills. And when scoring a try means so much more, how the sport of rugby is gaining pace in Zimbabwe's countryside, especially among young women. But we begin in Mexico, where there's growing concern over the demand for plastic surgery among women. Earlier in the year, a 29-year-old losing her life after undergoing more than 30 surgeries in 6 months. And in the Mexican state of Sinaloa, many women resorting to plastic surgery to shape their bodies in the figure of the buchona, a word used to describe the flamboyant girlfriends and partners of drug lords. But as our team report, they put their lives at risk by going to black market surgeons operating in clandestine clinics.
These are like 17,000 pesos, 150 euros. And these? How much? Like 20,000 pesos.
In Grecia's dressing room, shoes and luxury clothes are everywhere. The 28-year-old woman and her friend Leslie spend all their money and their time on their appearance.
160,000 las lipo. Breasts, 80. Men here are used to dating vain, voluptuous women. And if you don't have an ass or you're flat, you know how they are. You know how they are. Oh, that one doesn't have an ass. Here they're like that. It's the culture.
Here in Culiacan, many women like Grecia resort to plastic surgery to shape their bodies. Most of them aspire to look like the figure of the buchona, a voluptuous woman who is linked to the narco culture. This is a character created here in the capital of the Sinaloa cartel.
Many of these women have relationships with narcos, people who are dedicated to drug trafficking. And they are the ones who finance or pay for the surgeries. But it's also a goal to be like a buchona and to live in this environment or even be part of this world. To follow the fashion without being a drug trafficker or having a boyfriend or someone who pays for these surgeries. To be able to pay for them yourself and just look like these women.
Cosmetic surgery clinics are well established in the city's main streets. On social media, ads boast about spectacular results at low prices. But most doctors operating behind these profits are not qualified in plastic surgery. Some even mutilate patients, who then end up on Rafaela Martinez Terraza's operating table.
She has a torn muscle in her chest, and she wants to reconstruct it because it hurts during certain activities. The implant moves and it bothers her. It's common to have to reconstruct patients after mutilated surgeries that have gone wrong due to poor practice.
It's a tough problem to control.
In 2017, there was one qualified plastic surgeon for every 20 pseudo-surgeons.
Cristina is in the operating room today. The 48-year-old woman had breast implants inserted a year and a half ago by an unqualified doctor. Shortly after the operation, she immediately felt an abdominal pain.
A few days after the surgery, my breast started to swell up. I felt like it was going to explode. I was in a lot of pain and I had to go back to have another surgery. The doctor charged me again. I told him I couldn't bear the pain. He told me that all I had to do was drink tea and put on a morphine patch.
The healthcare watchdog, Copris, is tracking down these clandestine clinics. Since January 2022, in Sinaloa, out of 168 inspected establishments, 28 have been closed, like the one in these images.
You can see a very simple bed, and you can also see a window, and that shouldn't exist. There shouldn't be a window because it could contaminate the air.
But the lack of action against so-called doctors means these establishments remain open. You identify these bad practitioners, yet they continue to practice.
They continue to practice, that's correct.
Without appropriate criminal prosecution, fake surgeons have been causing havoc for a long time. 18 years ago, Leticia was invited by a friend to undergo an injection of what was thought to be hyaluronic acid in the buttocks.
5 years after the surgery, my skin started to darken. And then it became very thin. Once I fell backwards and I was bleeding so much, it wouldn't stop. It's a tragedy. Your whole life will never be the same again. Your life will never be the same. Save what you can of your life, because sometimes you can't.
Since January 2022, 3 people in Sinaloa have died as a result of botched plastic surgery. Here in Mexico, a bill has been presented to Parliament that aims to create a specific offence of providing plastic surgery while unqualified, punishable by 6 to 10 years in prison.
Now to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it's believed there are more than 30,000 street children in its capital, Kinshasa. At least 20% of them are young girls, and for the last 12 years, dozens of them have been given a new start in life thanks to the efforts of one Congolese woman. Our team on the ground sent this report.
Pamela and Vanyol are 2 self-reliant women. They recently ventured out on their own, but today they are returning to their former home, Matumaini. It's a centre which accommodates around 40 girls who were placed there by the juvenile court. Nushka Teixeira founded the centre in 2011. She was outraged by the situation of girls living on the street.
What I saw on the streets of Kinshasa really hurt me, particularly when I saw a girl who was maybe 14 or 15 with 2 babies. I wondered how it was possible to live on the street with 2 children, and especially why, at that age, she had 2 children.
There are an estimated 30,000 street children in Kinshasa, and an increasing number of them are girls. Among them are victims of sexual violence. Some are traumatized and have difficulty speaking. To help out, Nushka calls on one of the few speech therapists in the area. Elise arrived at the age of 6 with her little sister. When their mother died, they were thrown out into the street, accused of witchcraft.
Before coming to the center, I didn't really have any good memories. There was just suffering. Thanks to this place, I learned to read and write. Sometimes I wonder if it wasn't Nushka who gave birth to us. She really is a mother with a huge heart.
For Nushka, school is essential. It helps the girls to find their path. Janine is another who arrived at the age of 6. She was able to develop her passion for art and was accepted into the prestigious Fine Arts Academy in Kinshasa.
I used to feel inferior to others, but thanks to Matumaini, I've learned to be myself, to do what I love doing, and to express my feelings through my art.
The centre has no public financing, which makes running it a challenge.
I quickly understood that if I wanted to continue working with my girls, we would have to find our own solution. So we started to make dolls and other objects that we could sell. Bit by bit, we created our own brand of accessories. Today, it covers a good half of our expenses.
In addition to the 38 girls taken in off the street, the centre has trained over 500 women in various skills. It aims to expand its capacity to create a Matumaini village.
Staying in Africa, and rugby is slowly making gains in Zimbabwe's countryside, especially among young girls. The sport offering them a potential escape from the woes of poverty and early marriage. Jobs are scarce, pushing teenage girls into sex work, and rugby officials hope the lure of the sport will at least help tackle the boredom that prompts some of those girls to hang out on the streets.
In Domboshava, a poor rural district north of Harare, rugby is offering young local women a lifeline. The sport, normally associated with Zimbabwe's affluent suburbs, is making inroads in rural areas. For these players, the oval ball has given them a purpose.
When we started, we had no kit and we played barefoot. But now all that has changed with a proper strip and boots. We feel we can grow even bigger. We're not going to stop here.
Rugby has changed my life. I spend most of my time here, while other girls could be ruining their lives out there.
With jobs scarce in the economically deprived region, sex work is a constant temptation, as is drug abuse. The team's manager wants Zimbiru Rugby Club to provide an alternative.
The mantra in the country these days is fighting drug abuse and substance abuse amongst the youths in our communities. So we feel that as Zimbiru Rugby, we're also playing our part to get these kids to be busy. If they're training 4 days a week and they have a game on a Saturday, it gives them very little time to think about anything else.
The team, founded in 2016, battle on despite scant funding and now play in a 15-team league. And it has also propelled some players to national success, with 4 of them recently being drafted into Zimbabwe's under-20 women's team.
And that's all for this edition. We'd love to hear your suggestions for the 51%, so do get in touch via Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. And you can catch our previous episodes on our website. So until our next show, bye for now.